A very good afternoon to all the members present over here. I, CA Anshuman Jajodia, on behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICAI, welcome all the participants in today's webcast from nervous to noteworthy, the basics of public speaking. I also welcome our resource person for today, CA Hardik Shahji, and all the dignitaries present over here. To start with, I would like to introduce our speaker, CA Hardik Shah is a rank holder chartered accountant with over 14 years experience in building and rebuilding companies. In his previous professional stint, he was the AVP at Zell Education. He is currently advising several startups in their growth phase. He hosts the podcast Beyond the Degree. He loves going on solo dates. He had previously worked with Pearson, Ernst Young, and Zlearn. He has delivered several keynotes and seminars, including at organizations like HPCL, Asian Paints, Hindalco, Cape Gemini, TCS, JP Morgan, and institutions like ICAI, SDA Bocconi, NMIMS, etc. He served Toastmasters as a district director during the program year 23-24. The district achieved the highest recognition of his medley distinguished during the year when he served as a district director and was one of the best performing districts during the year, ranking among the top 5 in almost all categories. Awarded excellence in program quality by Toastmasters International for his tenure as program quality director, club growth director of the second largest district in the world. I once again welcome you, sir, and I request CA Hardik Shah to please start his deliberation.
Thank you so much, sir, for the warm introduction. Very sweet and kind of you to read it out for me. All right, everyone, a very, very good afternoon. I know it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I'm hoping most of you are from India, so I'm going to stick to being good afternoon. I'll be happy to see if we have some international audiences present on this interesting session today on the skill development program. First of all, thank you so much to the PSEC committee of ICI. First of all, thank you so much for forming a committee like this on Professional Skill Enrichment Committee. While a lot of us normally attend sessions on core technical skills, GST, income tax, audit, FII, AI these days, pick up everything and there are sessions of that. But something very interesting is brewing over here at ICI where we're helping each other build something on the soft skill section as well in terms of communication, interactions, negotiations, budgeting. A lot of these soft skills, understanding of human nature helps us get where we are. So that's the introduction that Anshuman sir had given of mine. I have been in the domain of public speaking and training professionals for almost a decade now. And I'm really glad, excited that I'm able to deliver this sessions to my alma mater, chartered accountants. I did my GMCS almost 13, 14 years back, and then I have always wanted to see that a lot of CAs sometimes hesitate to converse, to speak up, and that's the reason we always keep competing with some other professions. But I'm sure with this PSAC committee sessions, we will get better at what we do. Right. So before I get started with the presentation, with the sessions, of course, one challenge with this session, it's a webcast. We're going to talk about communication and public speaking without actually communicating in public speaking over here, because I will not get your reactions. I will not be able to understand, are you on the same track as me? Do you have questions? But we'll find some solution to that as the days proceeds ahead. For now, let's just understand that why is communication so important for us and what is communication. All right, let's clear the basics first, then we'll do the presentation and we'll go extremely slow. We have a good 2 hours at our hand. I'll also tell you what you will learn at the end of 2 hours and what you will not learn at the end of 2 hours. All right, I'll come to all of that in a bit. Let's go back to 2008, 9. Around that time, I was working with Ernst Young. That was my first corporate job. Very excited. It was my articleship actually. My last year of internship articleship, I was with Ernst Young. So I had gone there. I was working on tax advisory consulting. So one day, fortunately or unfortunately, my reporting senior was on leave, and we were working on an assignment. So we drafted the response that we had to file with the income tax department. I actually copied pasted the previous report and I just put it out there. But the CA in me, the learner in me wanted to understand what are we doing and why is that section relevant to it. So I studied about it and I realized that our opinion was incorrect. Now I was an intern, all right, and my senior was not there. So I just went to my manager and I told her that this opinion is incorrect. She's like, Hardik, I've been doing this for last 10 years. Don't tell me. So tell me why it is incorrect. And I tried to explain it to her, but I fumbled. I didn't have my sections handy. I didn't have the presentation handy. So she's like, Hardik, nothing doing. Go back to your desk and file it the way I've asked you to file it. So what I did, uh, very, very slyly and smartly, I drafted my response on email. Now, that time we didn't have AI or ChatGPT to help me with responses. So I actually went there and drafted my response on email and I sent it to her. And I also send the submission that if you do not agree with me, this is the submission is also ready. So I'm not wasting your time at all. After 15, 20 minutes, I thought I'll just leave because I didn't have the courage to go back and speak to her. So when I was just about to leave, she called me and said, Hardik, come here. And I said, I am fired. Those thoughts, that heart racing fast, that entire thing happened. And she's like, Hardik, you're right. Our submission previously was incorrect. We should change it. I agree with you. But Hardik, why did you not tell this to me in the morning when we spoke? And that's exactly when I realized that I may be smart technically. I may know, I may have my answers. I may understand it really well. But if I'm not able to articulate and communicate to the right people at the right time, it's a waste of my knowledge, my forte. All right. So as chartered accountants, we have to make presentations, conversations with a lot of people. And if I'm not strong at my soft skills, if I'm not able to speak up at the right time, I'm missing out on opportunities. So my technical skills, my resume got me that job, got me that interview. But what got me here will not take me to the next level. And that is when I decided that, okay, Hardik, enough. I think I should spend more time on building my soft skills and be confident. I think some of us know their answers and responses, but it's the lack of confidence at times that pulls us back. And that's exactly what we'll do in this session. I'll give you some quick tips, some tricks, some shortcuts in terms of what may work, what may not work. But before I head to the presentation, one simple question to all of you people. What is communication? So when you talk about being nervous, being confident, the underlying point is communication. What is communication? I'll give you 30 seconds or think what do you think communication means to you? Okay. I assume you all got a chance to understand what communication means. Let me very simplify it, all right? Communication is not what I want to speak. Communication is what the other person understands what I'm speaking. There's a difference. Communication is not what I want to say, speak, or message out. It is about what the other person understands from my non-verbal acts. A lot of times happens in offices or with clients that they want us to do some work, but the juniors don't understand it the way we want them to understand. That is where the communication gap is. So communication is not a monologue. It's not a one-way conversation. Communication is a two-way conversation where I say something and the other person understands it exactly the way I am trying to speak or exactly the way I want to convey about it. If what I say and you understand are indifferent, disconnected, that is a broken communication. Correct? Communication can be one on one, where I'm speaking to someone, to my clients, my juniors, my seniors. income tax officers, representation, whatever. That all is communication. I talk to my family members, my friends, my siblings. That all is communication. Sometimes at home when our mothers used to tell us that go and switch off the gas, and we don't switch off the gas that she asked us to get us this thing from the kitchen, and we don't get it. That is a communication gap. So communication is simple. When someone conveys something, the other person understand it exactly the way they want it to be conveyed. All right, that's communication. So it's one to one. It could be one to few. You're in a group discussion. You're discussing some case and facts, case studies, and communication could be one to many. Something like this, where it's a webinar or you're speaking to a larger audience, where I'm trying to communicate to you right now the importance of communication. All right, and how can you break that barriers. All right, that is the purpose of this session. The purpose of this session is to make you understand why communication is a baseline for any chartered accountants today. What are some basic small tips and tricks that will help you get better at it? All right, and the end result is that you are able to try this out. All right, that's important. This entire session is going to be simplified, very watered down. It is not high level intellectual. It is very simple, basic, raw at level 0, because the audience right now of almost 500 plus people are from different backgrounds, different cities, different geographies. They all of you are different levels. All right. So I'm going to have this session very simplified, very watered down, very raw and basic, so that everyone is on the same page. Everyone understands what we're trying to do in this session. Okay. Now, some of you may assume that people are public speakers by birth. They are confident by birth. Is it a skill that can be developed? The simple answer is yes. Yes, yes, you can develop this skill. It needs practice. Some of us, I'm sure the best example, of course, none of us were born chartered accountants, right? We struggled, we slogged, we worked, we learned, and that's how we became chartered accountants. It took us time, effort from our side, and energy in that direction to make us chartered accountants. Similarly, time and effort and practice. All right. Practicing communication will get you there. And one hack that I use for myself when I'm extremely scared to speak, 3 seconds of ultra high level confidence, just 3 seconds of insane confidence. Go and say it or go and do it. Right? I remember I was doing a bungee jump and I was so scared when I hit the ledge. I just closed my eyes and for 3 seconds, I said, Hardik, what can the worst that will happen? I jumped. I was scared the entire time the bungee happened, but that 3 seconds of insane confidence is important. So, whenever you are not sure, build that 3 seconds of confidence that will help you with your communication as well. All right. All right, moving to the main slides now. Answering the first and the most important question of the session, what not to expect. There are no secret sauces. I'll give you tips and tricks and hacks that I use. There is no secret sauce. All right. At the end of this 2 hour session, you will not become an expert speaker. It is not a machine that I put you in from one side and you come out as an expert speaker. No, it doesn't happen that way. It does not work that way. All right. So you will not become an expert speaker, but you'll understand the basic nuances of communication. What is verbal communication? What is non-verbal communication? How to try it? We'll practice a few topics over here. Why is it important for us? How do you handle your nervousness? How do you prepare yourself? All of that, we'll touch upon soon these topics in the next 2 hours. All right. It's again not one size fits all. Like I mentioned, there are 500 plus people in this webinar right now. Some of you are confident, some of you are nervous, some of you have a mother tongue influence problem. You all will have different challenges. All right. So it's not a one size fits all. But overall, you will take the best out of what you can hear. Some things you'll be actually already better than me at. You'll be good at. Some things you want to improve upon. All right? It's a mixed bag over here. So let's keep it as a mixed bag. Learn whatever is best for you, and we'll take it one step at a time. Again, there is no wrong manner of communication. You just get better at what we do. Circling back, remember, Communication is what I convey and what you understand. It's a two-way street, it is not a one-way street. So, my style of communication could be proactive, aggressive, you could be subtle, humble, right? It's all perfectly fine. There are no differences between the two of them. But but to remember, what is important is what I communicate is what you understand. All right, we'll take a 10-second pause over here. I want you all to go back, close your eyes, think about what we just spoke about, because then starts the main action in the next few seconds. So let's get there. So we'll keep doing this. I'll keep giving you a 30 seconds, 60 seconds break between slides, between topics, so that you can, if you want to make notes, if you want to think about it, you want to practice something, you can do that. Right? Since I do not get any reactions from you over here, I'm technically speaking to a camera right now, which is extremely difficult to do in communications, especially in a webcast. But we'll manage that. We have done this before. We'll do it one time again. It's perfectly fine. But wherever you think you want to make notes, please make notes. If you have questions toward the end, we'll keep 15 minutes where you will be able to ask questions, and my guest, my host, will be able to articulate those back to me. So we'll get there in a bit. But right now, what not to expect: you will not become a pro speaker at the end of the session, but you will get the nuances, some tips, and some hacks which you can implement, whatever is relevant for you. All right. In a 2 hour session, if even if 10% of the tips are relevant for you, I think my session is worth it. Right? That's it. Even if 15 minutes of time of yours is worth today, it is going to be good enough. Right? So this is what we'll do today. First is know your audience, content, delivery, what's in it for me, and we'll try some communication hacks right now. Okay? So we'll get there. All right, all of you ready? Get started. All right, I need your full attention for the next 95 minutes. I promise I will end the session by 4 o'clock. All right. Timing is one very important parameter of communication. We have been to seminars, sessions, or bosses speak for minutes and minutes and minutes, and we just want it to end, right? I promise I'll end this by 4 o'clock. All right, so let's lay the foundation of communications of anything. Preparation. You see how the presentation's ready? I have a book in front of me also, right? I'm prepared. I have made notes on different pages over here for me to look at, to refer to if I have doubts, if I have questions. I have preparation. I have videos available to show you all of that. So I have come prepared. I have done my research and my homework. I have done this session a couple of times before, but before I did this, I always go through my notes again, ensure all my slides are in place, ensure the videos are in place. I then practice it, and then comes the presentation and performance. What I'm doing right now is supposed to be a performance. It has to be perfect to the maximum possible extent. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, to the maximum possible extent. We'll come to this in the last slide. All right. So we'll close the loop in the end. Why did I say it doesn't have to be perfect? It has to be perfect to the max extent. I will close this loop at the end of this presentation. So preparation, practice, presentation, and this performance for all of you. So know your audience. Basic. The first thing before you start doing anything is knowing your audience. There are three categories over here: personal interaction, group discussion, and public speaking. Personal interaction is one-on-one. Let's say I'm conducting an interview, or I am giving an interview, or I'm talking to an income tax officer. Okay? These are all personal interactions. Knowing your audience is very important, because you need to know how much do they understand. What is their knowledge level? Now, a few months back, my mother wanted to suddenly got very excited about mutual funds and stock markets. She's like, Hardik, I'm the mother of a chartered accountant, and I know nothing about finance, investments, and stock markets. I'm said, perfect, let's do this. I will teach you how to do stock market trading. The first question she asked me is that why is the stock pricing changing every second? Oh, and why is there BSC, NSC? What is this? That's when I realized that my understanding of my mother is not at the level of a CA. She's a novice who does not understand finances and stock markets. So if I go and tell her that, okay, buy 50 shares of Reliance because I'm expecting its P ratio to be 25, it will grow by 10% in the next 3 months, and they're going to have a stock split, she will not understand any of it. I have to go by very basic, that there is a company that is formed, they have 1,000 shares issued, then they want to raise funds from the public, so they issue 10 shares to the public. These 10 shares are then listed on the stock exchange for anyone to buy and sell. And when people buy and sell is when the prices fluctuate. Do you realize? In a normal conversations with chartered accountants or finance professionals, I would not have to deep dive on how the prices fluctuate. But when I'm talking to my mother, I had to go down to that level. So, as a speaker, as someone on this side of the communication, you have to start at their level. You can't be over here, riding over here, expecting them to understand what you're communicating. If they are here, it's your job to come down to that level and speak. And that is why knowing your audience, their demographics, their generics, their understanding, their domain knowledge is important. You might be an expert in income tax, you may know every section to the T. But let's say you go to an engineer and he wants to file his return and he's got a notice on AIS by income tax department. He will not even know the full form of AIS. So you have to go down to that level. And how can you go down to that level? Only if you know your audience. So whether it's personal interaction, group discussion, or public speaking, you have to be at the same level as the lowest person in that discussion. In public speaking, if I start talking in jargons in terms of, okay, she'll do this and that, a lot of you people may not understand it, right? So I have to be at par with the lowest person in the space and communicate and build them up to the higher level. So bring them up to pace gradually. All right. So in personal interaction is one to one, group discussion is one to few, and public speaking is one to many. All right. So background, understanding, you have to uplift them. See, don't say that, yeah, you don't know that much also. This is basic. Everyone should know this. Do not ever, ever do that. Your job as a communicator is not to pull people down. Your job is to lift them up to your level and make them as smart as you are, if not more. That's our job as communicators. Okay? So know your audience, understand the demographics, their background, understanding everything. All right. Now let's look at this example. Let's say I'm going for an interview. The first round is the HR round. So the HR will normally ask me questions about my personality, my background, my profile, what my family does. How am I as an individual? For the second round, when I go to a partner, it will be more technical, right? We'll talk about, let's say I'm doing it for advisory or assurance. They'll ask me case studies, they'll ask me my inputs and suggestions on different topics. The entire conversation and narrative changes. So the same individual in different scenarios will have to adopt to different communication styles depending on who is on the other side. All right. Let's say I'm representing a client to the income tax department. Income tax officer is aware of all tax laws and sections. Your client may not be aware of it. So it is your job and your responsibility to explain it to them, make them understand, and then go and represent. All right. So same conversation can have different meanings, different levels with two different people, and your ground up will be very different. So be very careful around this. All right. Clear? All right. Brand building is important. So you become an expert in a topic. So if you know your audience, you are able to create their brand persona for yourself. So breaking down again, know your audience. And if you want a very simple hack formula, how to know your audience or what all should you know, a simple formula is 5W and 1H. 5 wives and 1 husband, 5W and 1H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. So let's go back to my mother's example. Who is the audience? My mother. What she wants to know about stock markets. when she wants to know about it, today, where, now, why, she wants to start investing in the stock market. And that is when my job comes. How do I address these 5 points in one conversation? Am I clear? I'll repeat it for all of you. It's 5 W's and 1 H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. All right, 5 W's, 1 H. That's know your audience. We'll take a quick 60-second break over here so that you can take a note of this, understand, put different scenarios in your head, simulate them, and move to the next slide. All right, here we go to the next slide. Is crafting your message. Now you've got your audience, you know whom are you speaking to, why are you speaking to them. Okay, so before I go there, there's a question in my chat box. How how will we come to know who is the lowest person in audience? Okay, perfect. Beautiful question. Now, if it's one-to-one interaction, I will generally find out when I ask them probing questions. All right. For example, if I had to do this session in public, I will ask people, how many of you feel nervous when speaking in front of an audience? How many of you have given a speech to an audience member before? How many of you are scared to ask questions to your boss or raise your hands in the classroom? Asking these probing initial questions will help me understand how my audience is. Let's say if I'm doing a tax scenario, I will ask them questions that are you aware of what all deductions are disallowed under section 37(1)? They know that? No. They don't know that? Yes. Whatever. So ask initial, if it's one-to-one, ask simple, straightforward questions. If it's a larger audience, ask more probing questions where their responses will help you understand what is the level at which they're speaking. Clear? Are we good? All right. So that's know your audience. Now moving to crafting your message. The core of communication is the content. All right. So before I go there, I'll show you a small video.
What? All you all think smoking kills? Let me tell you something. Do you know that the amount of people dying from diabetes are 3 times as many people dying from smoking? Yet if I pulled a Snicker bar, nobody would say anything. Do you know that the leading cause of lung cancer is not actually a cigarette? It's your DNA. You could smoke for years and nothing will ever happen to you. This whole war against smoking is just to restrict the farming of tobacco. Mr. Council Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I use these arguments, even though I just made them up,
Mesa School's undergrad program, we are looking for only 100 special high schoolers.
So what you saw is words. For the first 30 seconds, I'm sure most of us were convinced that smoking is not the road to death. Diabetes has a higher proportion of a road to death, and yet we don't speak about it. I'm sure, and those are words, right? And that's all that is matters at times. The words that you speak, the content that you make is what makes an impact. Now, if you noticed in his presentation, in the speech, in the content, there's an opening. He started with like putting a cigarette. If you notice in my presentation, I started with my journey about EY on why I believed communication was important to me. One way to do is it, hi everyone, my name is Hardik. Let's talk about communication today and let's have the presentation. Simple, I can do that. I'm not grabbing attention. You are not interested in my story. Stories always sell. And that's the reason if you notice, I shared a story about EY, I shared a story about my mother. These are all content opening to get you hooked. So your opening has to be very important in terms of how you start. But your meat has to be the body. You can't faff around things over here. All right. And closing is the call to action. At the end of all of this, what do you want the audience to do? What is the immediate call to action for them? Let's say I've submitted, there's an appeal with the ITAT. At the end, I want all these additions to be dropped. So my closing will be, with all due humble respect to my fellow income tax officers and the ITAT bench members, I humbly request that all the additions in the income tax of my client to be dropped because of ABC. That's the closing. At the end of it, I wanted my mother to start investing, so I helped her do the first transaction. So your content has to have an opening, a very strong body, which has important meat to keep you engaged and hooked, and a closing, a call to action. All right, that's your content. There's also possibility that you might start with a very boring content. Let me show you one more video for that.
About this. Let's say, for example, your speech topic is the rise of artificial intelligence in healthcare. Now, don't start your speech by just saying, hi everyone, the topic I'm going to be speaking about is the rise of AI in healthcare. Instead, the easiest way to capture an audience's attention is to ask them a question on something they emotionally connect with. People don't care about the rise of AI, we care about the impact that it will have on our lives. So you can start your speech like this instead. Healthcare is one of the most erratic professions out there. But what if I told you that we could halve our time spent in the hospital while more than doubling our output? Let's talk about the rise of AI in healthcare. If you start your speech like that, you'll be much more likely to engage your audience throughout the entire presentation. Try it out the next.
You see the difference in the two conversation styles of the same topic, all right? So your body opening makes a major impact in the engagement of the audience member initially. And then, of course, your content is important, but the starting few seconds is the most critical to keep them hooked to what you're saying. And let's go back to our presentation. Yeah. Next is purpose. What is the purpose of the communication? It could be generic, it could be specific. Generic could be to inform, to entertain, to persuade, to inspire, whatever. The purpose of this session is to inspire all of you to take up communications more seriously and to inform of different hacks that are available. It's a very generic purpose. I don't expect any of you to become a world champion of public speaking tomorrow. The purpose is just to tell you that anyone and everyone can become confident speakers. Simple. Specific purposes that I want ABC to become a world champion. Very different. Specific purpose, the ITAT example, I want the charges against my client dropped. Very specific examples. All right. So your generic purpose could be to inform, inspire, entertain, or persuade. Specific is exactly what you want the other person to do. Let's say you ask your intern to file the income tax return of Hardik Shah. Specific. Generic, the deadline of income tax is on 15th of September. Let's ensure all our returns are filed by 15th of September. Very generic. You want all returns to be filed 15th of September. You're not giving them that what is the immediate actionable for today. But if I tell them, okay, file Hardik's return today before you leave, that's a specific act of communication. Right? You see the difference? Generic, specific. Generic is to inform, inspire, entertain, persuade. Specific is what action you want them to take. Let's say on Instagram, at the end, if you remember, Instagram, YouTube, people ask you to subscribe or follow them. They want you to engage with their content a lot. And do not use jargons or long sentences or ramble. You are not a Shashi Tharoor. You do not have to pretend to be one. You don't have to speak too much. You have to speak something that the other person understands. Remember, circling back to our first part, communication is what you convey and the other person understands. If what I convey, other person does not understand, it's a failure. So using jargons won't help. I'll show you an example and you will hate it. So don't be like that person when you're speaking over here.
Madam President and gentlemen, ladies of the House, standing here with 8 minutes in my hands and at this venerable and rather magnificent institution, I was going to assure you that I belong to the Henry VIII School of Public Speaking, that as Henry VIII said to his wives, I shall not keep you long. But now finding myself the seventh speaker out of 8 in what must already seem a rather long evening to you, I rather feel like Henry VIII's last wife. I more or less know what's expected of me, but I'm not sure how to do it any differently. Perhaps what I should do is really try and pay attention to the arguments that were advanced by the opposition today. We had, for example, Sir Richard Ottaway suggesting, challenging the very idea that it could be argued.
Introducing the English test designed for you. Convenient, fast, affordable, and trusted by top universities.
So let's not try and be Shashi Tharoor over here. What we have to be is that what we communicate is other person understands it. You don't need them to use a dictionary or a Google search for every word that you utter. Keep it very simple, keep it simplified, and that's when you will inspire or more audience members to be attached to what you're communicating. So circling back, crafting your message, your content, your opening, body, conclusion is important. What you speak matters, has an impact. Have a purpose, generic, to inform, to persuade, to entertain, to inspire. Do not use jargons or long sentences or ramble. I know a lot of people say if you cannot convince, confuse, it does not always work. Do not use that. All right, so I'm giving you another 60 seconds to quickly recap this slide. Okay, do we have any questions from the audience? While you post your questions, let's move on to the next slide over here. Next is engaging delivery techniques. It's the non-verbal communication. Remember, almost 60 to 70% of communication is non-verbal in nature. What you speak matters. How you speak can make a larger impact on the audience. If you notice, in spite of a small screen, I'm trying to use my hand gestures to emphasize on points, to provide different situations. So we'll break this down into three parts: the body language, eye contact. Now, unfortunately, I am trying to look at the camera, but I look at the screen also. If you're at a larger place, look at the person in the eye when you communicate. That shows confidence in yourself, in what you're communicating, what you're talking about. If you look down, sounds guilty, it looks guilty that you are not sure, you're underconfident, and the other person will take you for a ride. Eye contact, hand gestures. Stage movement. It's one to one, all right, one to few, you're in a room setup. It's one to many. Use the stage effectively. Let's say this is your stage over here, the screen that you can see over here. This is the entire stage of yours. All right. I can make one point at this location, second point over here, third point over here. Gradual, self-paced, slow movements. A lot of people have this habit of oscillating at the two ends, keep walking, pacing around. Do not keep pacing around. If I like if I'm doing this, it's irritating and annoying because you're not able to focus on me. Come here, speak for a few seconds. All right, let's talk about another topic over here. All right, let's talk about this over here. Remember, you're emphasizing different aspects of your speech from different parts of the stage. So body language, your eye contact, look in the eye. Now, large audience, 500 people, how can you look at everyone in the eye? By eye contact is not eye to eye contact with every individual. Let's say there's a group of people sitting over here. There are 20, 30 people. Look at one person in the center of it. All of them around will assume that you're speaking to them. All right. So eye contact, hand gestures, and stage movement. Next is voice modulation. Have you thought that sometimes some people are shouting at you or angry at you, or sometimes you're not sure what are they trying to communicate? I had this habit of being able to speak at the pace of almost 100-200 words a minute, and that at the point was that at times when I spoke at that pace, nobody understood what I actually spoke. But over time, I realized that I have to pace myself so that the other person understands what I'm communicating. So your pause, your pitch, your power, and pace, the 4 P's of voice modulation are extremely critical. If I have to make an effective point, I give a small pause. Remember, after every slide, I'm giving you 60 seconds of breathing space. If I keep talking and talking and talking, and I move on to the next slide where you're trying to still articulate what I spoke before, I have lost my connection with you. And if I lose my connection with the audience, the person is disinterested to continue. All right. So your pauses, your pitch. But your honor, this is the actual facts of the case. You're adding volume and matter to it. You're adding power to your communication. It shows confidence, but remember, beyond a limit, if I'm telling you this is it, it is this. It could mean arrogance also. While I think you are right, but I think I will have the final say on this matter. You're using your power very confidently over. Pace is speaking at a level which other person is able to catch up with. Right? So that's why, remember, knowing your audience is very important. So that's voice modulation for you. Pause, pitch, power, and pace. And the last part of non-verbal communication is additional aids. Audio, video. If you see, I'm trying to give you some video clips to explain my concept examples to you. All right. That's a visual aid. That's attracting more attention span of yours. A presentation like this, so that you are able to keep a flow with it. If I speak so much for 2 hours, you will be bored of listening to me. This adds as a good visual factor. And also remember, people remember a lot more of what they see than what they hear. So if there's an audio video, the chance of people remembering what you said is way higher than me just speaking verbally. We enjoy movies a lot more, right? And that's the whole reason that this happens. The last one is a prop. If required, let's say you have an income tax act or a presentation, you can use prop as a filler at times if required. So summing up this slide for all of you, body language, your eye contact, look at people in the eye. If it's a small group, look at them one by one when you're communicating to them. It's one-on-one, please look in the eye, otherwise it looks underconfident. If it's a large audience, look at one person in a group and then you can plan that. Next is hand gestures. Okay, you don't have to keep moving your hands. It should not be in your pocket. It shouldn't be behind. It sounds principal army like if it's out behind. Use it confidently when you have to pace around, move around, making a point. You can use your hand gestures in different manners that works for you. And stage movement, if it's a larger stage like this, if it's there, like on camera, unfortunately, I have to be restricted to one small screen. I can move to different parts of the stage to make different points to audience. Voice modulation, the 4 Ps: pause, pitch, power, and pace. I'll show you one quick video for this as well.
I just want you to tell me how much excitement I'm building in the way I'm presenting it, okay? Today I'm really excited to announce the brand new iPhone.
Too fast, to the point, like it didn't build up.
Yes, yes. Now be honest, for those of you who get nervous during a speech, ever sped through the entire thing and you don't even know what you said? So here, when I announced the iPhone, did I build any anticipation for the product at all? It's like I'm getting paid by the hour. Okay, guys, I gotta go back home, right? Let me try this one more time and tell me if it sounds any different, okay? Today, I'm really excited to announce the brand new iPhone.
Did you notice the same topic in different manners could mean different energy, different pauses, different pitches, different pace can completely change the way you look at, hear, or listen to someone. Right, so back to our presentation. All right, and then the additional aids, your audiovisual, PPT, and prop. All right, we'll take a 60 seconds break again to revise what you've seen over here. We will then quickly run through what we have seen so far. Join the dots backwards and then move on. Till the time, if you have any questions, audience members, please shoot them. I have my moderator who is helping me very graciously with those questions that you're shooting to me. I have a question in the chat from Gaurav Jain. How to overcome a language barrier? Now, it's very much possible that I am a native English speaker, and some of you may not understand English by default, or Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, Kannada, Malayalam. You have to find a common communication language. Correct? That's very important. From my experience, when I was in Thailand recently, I didn't speak Thai. So what I had to do for communication is I used to use the Google Translate option, type what I want to say in English, use Translate, rely on Google to do the magic, and make the other person read it. Correct? But that is not effective communication. That can be used for quick one or two interactions. It can't break the barrier. So your language barrier, as long as you can speak basic of that language, basic understandable conversation level, please use that common language of communication. If you are not aware, get a translator in place. All right. You can't take in the effort to know every language, but, but, let's say you are pitching to a client, you're going to a foreign country, doing a little homework of the commonly used 20, 30, 40 words, greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, lunch, dinner, some basic words of theirs, and you interact and attempt to interact in that, it breaks the ice like nothing else. Like if you go to Middle East and just say Assalamu alaikum, it breaks the ice with them. All right. When you go to France and say bonjour, they are happy about it. Very basic, small 5, 10, 20, 30, whatever you can remember. Remember those words and their meanings and interact with those for a few seconds. It breaks the ice, and then they will also put an effort to come down and speak to you in the language that both of you understand. Please do that. All right, let's quickly recap what we have done so far. Uh, First is know your audience. Remember the 5 W's and 1 H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Personal interaction, group discussion, or public speaking. Next is crafting your message, your content, your opening, your body, your closing. Purpose of the communication. What do you want the other person to take out of it? Inform, inspire, entertain, persuade. Specific is the call to action. At the end of it all, what do you want them to do? Please do not attempt to use fancy words and languages. Use simple communication tricks. Do not use jargons or long sentences or ramble. All right, keep it very simple and to the point. Next is engage delivery techniques, your body language, eye contact, one-to-one, very simple, look at them in the eye. Hand gestures, keep it limited to the point. Eye contact to a larger audience. Find a person in the audience to speak to. Pace your stage movements very effectively. Do not keep pacing or oscillating from left to right. People get distracted. One spot, make a point, move slowly. Voice modulation, the 4 P's, your pause, your pitch, your power, and your pace. Additional aids, audio visuals, presentations, and prop, whatever works best for you. Remember, all of this cannot and need not be packaged in one speech. I can use eye contact, pause, and AV in one pitch. I may not have stage movement options. So don't say that, okay, there are 10 items in checklist. I have to do all of this in one speech. No, it's not a dance class. In communication, pick what you like, what is relevant, and use that. All right, are we good? Am I clear on this? Any questions so far? Please put them in the chat. I'll have my moderator, Anshuman ji, helping me with those questions. These are engaging delivery techniques. All right, next part is handling questions. All right, we'll take a quick 5-minute bio break and come back to doing handling questions. All right, so I'm back. Let's continue with this presentation. The next part is handling questions. You have known your audience. You have understood your audience. You know what is who they are, why you're speaking to them. You have crafted a message. You have explained to them. You have a purpose. You have been specific. You have managed your non-verbal cues as well. And then there are counter questions. Let's say they ask you questions. First response and first understanding from a mental block perspective is you are not a know-it-all. You are an expert, a domain expert, a subject matter expert in the field, but you are not a know-it-all. There could be tens of millions of things in the universe. You possibly know 1 lakh of those, which makes you better than 99.9% of the population. But you are not a know-it-all. You are not supposed to know everything at the tip of your tongue. And that's okay. That's okay. If you do not know something, it's okay. All right? Be prepared. Now, do your homework and come. That's important. Just because the audience is a level below you doesn't mean you don't do your homework. Remember, preparation is the core of what we do. So come prepared, do your homework and come. When someone is asking you a question, listen attentively and actively. All right? Do not cut them off. Okay, I got your question. Let me answer them for you. Do not do that. Let them complete the question to the last word. And then you take a pause of 10-15 seconds and then you proceed with responding to them. All right? Active listening is important because you're not sure what is the point that they missed out on. So you want them to capture that. All right? And last is clear and concise response. Do not confuse. Give them answers to the point. Do not beat around the bush. Remember, I said your speaking time is limited. Your attention span of people is limited. Ensure you are able to speak and communicate in that time zone. Okay, that's important. So be prepared. Active listen. Let them complete the question before you respond. And clear and concise response. Do not confuse. Do not deviate. Now, what if you do not know the answer? What if they give you a counter which maybe you agree, maybe disagree with? What if something you do not know at that point in time, or maybe someone is asking too many questions and you want to go ahead with the presentation or the conversation? Here are some tricks to use. You can say, maybe you're right. I did not think of it that way. Let me go back to my drawing board and let me think in that direction. Deflecting the question if you believe that person could have merit or a point. Right? I'll repeat it. Maybe you're right. I did not think of it that way. Let me go back to the drawing board and see how we can work around this. Some questions you have no idea about. I'm not sure about that. That's not part of what my current expertise is. Let me go back and do my research and circle back to you. Underlying point is do not enter into an argument or a debate. It is not a one-upmanship. I am right, you are wrong. You're not trying to prove that. If a person is communicating, conversing, and putting your points down, just tell them, maybe you're right. Let's have a detailed chat after the session. You, as a speaker, have a moral authority of the time the entire audience has spent out there and not just one individual. So you'd never engage into one-to-one debate or an arguments with someone on stage. You put your point, they put your point, you close it. You don't keep giving counters and counters and counters. It will never end. And will look bad because you are the speaker. People came to learn from you. They did not learn from you. That person walked away as a rebel. So you never let that person have that one-upmanship. You take the higher moral ground and close the conversation. Maybe you're right. I did not think of it that way. Let's discuss this offline. Let me check and get back to you. I'm not sure about this, but maybe I could think it from that direction. Do not ever enter into argument. All right. Next is what's in it for me? Why should chartered accountants be very strong in their communication? Now, there could be multiple reasons to do this. First is interviews. Let's say you have to give an interview, you have to take an interview. Your communication style and technique will tell a lot about you as an individual, about the other person whom you interview. Second is client meetings and pitches. I'm sure as CS, we have clients, we are consulting, we are advising, we are tax consultants, assurance, whatever it is, business advisory. You are having a client meeting, you have to put your presentation forward, you have to give your points forward, you have to give your arguments ahead. That is where you need your client meetings, right? So your communication is important. Let us a new client and they want to hire a business advisory for growth or cost cutting. And there are 10 different chartered accountants. Why should they choose you? Your pitch of 5 minutes or 10 minutes will define that. So if you are not confident in that room that we will take care of your business as your business partners, they will not hire you as a consultant. So having strong communication is very important when you pitch to the client. Next, let's look at representation. You're representing a client in front of income tax officers or GST officers or corporate affairs or any other forum for that matter. Communication is important. If I do not have a right opening body conclusion, if I'm going to just beat around the bush, talk about everything which is irrelevant, people will not take me seriously. Next is a conference speaker. Let's say you are an expert in transfer pricing. And you have to talk about your understanding, domain expertise of transfer pricing to a larger audience. You need to be able to communicate better. And these days, one of the fancy ones is brand building or content creation. Now, as CAs, we can't advertise ourselves. But can I create content on a topic? Let's say, how can salaried employees save taxes? Can use LTA, food allowances, conveyance. Can I talk about this on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube? That will also help you build your brand out there. And of course, content creation. Your content creation, maybe it's verbal, maybe it's audio, maybe it's written, that will help build your brand and persona that you are an expert in so and so domain. For instance, for the last 10 years, I have largely been education and communication public speaking. That's the reason I have been invited to take up this session over here. That's the reason I speak about communication and education on a lot of my LinkedIn platform forums as well, right? So this is helping me build my brand and people will reach out to me for my services in the future. So summing up, why do you need to have good communication as a chartered accountant? What's in it for me? Your interviews, your client meetings, your pitches, your representation, your conference speaker, you're a brand building. You can't advertise, but you can subtly put yourself out there that you are an expert in this field with content creation. Right, giving you all another minute to recap what we did right now over here. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat box. All right, let's quickly recap. Know your audience, who, what, when, where, why, how. Crafting your message, your opening, your body, your conclusion, your purpose, generic, specific. What do you want the people to take away? You want to inform, inspire, entertain, persuade. Do not use jargons, do not use long sentences, do not ramble around, please. Do not do that. Body language, eye contact, hand gesture, stage movement, extremely important. Voice modulation, pause, pitch, power, and pace. Additional aids, audio visual, PPT, prop. Remember, 60% of communication is non-verbal. Put a lot of emphasis on that. In terms of questions, be prepared, active listening, clear and concise response. Do not enter into argument. It's okay to deflect a question to be answered separately outside the room. What's in it for you? The most important slide of the presentation: interviews, client meetings, pitches, representation, conference speaker, brand building, content creation. You can't advertise, but you can use these tools to put yourself out there as an expert in a particular field or domain. It could be finance, it could be accounting, it could be GST, it could be transfer pricing. You choose your domain and put content out there and see how you attract clients for yourself. All right, so let's do a little practice. I know we have heard a lot of things about body language, voice modulation. We heard about opening, we heard about knowing your audience. All of that is done. Let's practice. Now, what's the basic of communication? Listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. I'll repeat: listening, thinking, organizing, and then delivering. It doesn't have to be impromptu that you respond in 1 second, right? You can close your eyes, think for 10 seconds, and articulate your thoughts. That could be the perfect response to the question that is asked. All right, so listening, thinking, organizing, delivering. So let's practice. All right, 2 tricks. One is prep. Prep stands for point, reason, example, point. Prep stands for point, reason, example, point. Right? I'll give you one situation. Take 60 seconds. Think if as a normal layman, I come to you as a chartered accountant and ask you one question. Should I use old regime or new regime to file my income tax return? Should I use old regime or new regime to file my income tax return? What is your response going to be? Use the PREP framework. Point, reason, example, point framework to talk about it. Think about it for 60 seconds and let's see what can you come up with. All right. Now, The question again is, if I am a normal layman person, I asked you a question, old regime or new regime, what do you recommend as a chartered accountant? Using the PrEP framework, how will we do that? PrEP is point, reason, example, point. As a salaried individual, I will strongly recommend that you use the new regime because your salary annually is only 12,50,000 rupees. The new regime, as per the last year's amendment, has made salary tax exemption up to 13 lakhs rupees of income. You don't have to take care of any deductions, any exemptions, any investments to uh, claim this new regime. No documentation required. It's a very simple return to file. You don't have to submit any documents to your employer or income tax department, just your salary slips and it is done. For example, 2 days back, we just filed a return. It took us less than 10 minutes to file return, and the person had to pay zero taxes on his income of 12,50,000 rupees. And that's the reason I very strongly suggest that you should use the new tax regime. So the circle, I made an argument in favor of the new tax regime because the exemption limits are at 13 lakhs and so you will pay zero taxes. Then I gave an example of it took me 10 minutes to file a return of an individual who had to pay zero taxes, and hence, reason example, and hence I would strongly recommend you to use the new tax regime in your case. Right? Simple, simplified. Let's do one more example. Think about this. Why did the Indian government switch from service tax to GST? Why did the Indian government switch from service tax to GST? Think about it for 60 seconds. Thought, got ideas how to prepare for this? Now let me give you one more framework for this. It's called the PPF. I know a lot of us invest in PPF, but it's a different framework. Past, present, and future. In old days, you had to register for service tax with every state. You had to pay service tax returns separately. The exemption limit was common. You could not take credit for goods. You had to pay taxes separately for goods and services. That was the past. Now with the GST, while you have to do multiple registrations, you only have to file simple returns on one common platform, and you're able to get credit for services and goods under one domain. In future, we expect the government to simplify to have just one return for all states that we function in. And the number of tax slabs are reduced from 4 to 2. What was happening in the past? Service tax, complication, what the government is doing today, the present, and what, as per you, the future will look like. That's the PPF framework. So I'll repeat it for you. The PrEP framework is point, reason, example, point. And then we have the PPF framework, past, present, future. All right. So let's go back. Know your preparation, practice, presentation, performance. Know your audience, who, what, when, where, why, how, 5 W's, 1 H. Crafting your message, opening, body, conclusion. To inform, inspire, entertain, persuade. What's your purpose? Do not use jargons. 60% of communication is non-verbal. What you speak, no. How you speak, your eye movements, your eye contact, hand gestures, your pause, the 4 P's, pause, pitch, power, pace. Handling questions, be prepared, active listening, clear and concise response is important. What's in it for you? Interviews, client meetings, pitches, representation, conference speakers, brand building, content speakers. You should be able to ace it, kill it when you go out there. Listening, thinking, organizing, delivering are four important basic fundamentals of communication. The two frameworks I taught you: prep, point, reason, example, point; PPF, past, present, future. All right, before I come to how do you practice, all right, I will show you one quick video of myself of how I was before and how I am now. Okay, just 1 second. Let me stop sharing the screen. So ignore the quality of the video, but just look at the
I request all of you to do one small exercise with me. Take your left hand and place it right on the chest. Is your heart nodding? Sorry, beating. Stop nodding, yeah. Your heart on the left side. While stepping on this podium, standing over there, my heartbeat almost stopped, only to recover the pounding heart right now. I wish I had a Fitbit to show to you all. When the last time your heart beat was faster than usual? Examinations? A dozen missed calls from your parents, your boss, your girlfriend, or when your crush walks by. But your heartbeat stops to show a straight line when the person you love and dream or spend the rest of your life with gets married to someone else. What they chosen was your birthday. Good morning.
You notice pace was non-stop. I was looking down constantly. I made errors. I fumbled. There were a lot of errors. This was me, I think, around 9 or 10 years back when I started communicating, started speaking to an audience. That is how I was. And recently, a few months back, I had an opportunity to speak in front of an audience. Uh, and here is a glimpse of that.
Am I audible? Am I visible to the back end? Now, if I asked any of you to come on the stage and give a speech right now, would you be a little nervous and have butterflies? Yes, no? Anyone? I'm a little nervous right now, to be very honest, and I need a little help from all of you. Every time I forget a line or take a long pause, can you at least smile and clap for me? Thank you, Jason, for sharing that beautiful journey from being a student to a professional and how Toastmasters help you in your journey so far. Now it's time for all of us to listen to the story of one more student. The story goes back to 2012. A newly qualified chartered accountant was working with a Big Four consulting firm.
Do you know the difference in both the speeches? It's a span of 9 years, all right? So it is consistent practice and communication where I'm able to be more confident, look at people in the eyes and speak out there. So that is what soft skills can do. That's the impact it can have in terms of what we speak and communicate. Now I'm coming to some interesting parts and some things which is very common. Before every speech, you will still have butterflies, you will still feel stage fright. How you will have lack of audience engagement, you will have lack of confidence, poor body language. How do we tackle these, right? The first and foremost important thing in this webinar today, we have 500 plus people who have spent the last 95 minutes with me, and they'll spend, let's say, 2 hours with me today. So that's 500 people spending 2 hours with me. Do you think these 500 people want to waste their 2 hours? We will go to this section and ensure that Hardik messes up, screws up. We don't want to learn. We just want to mess up with his speech or his presentation. No, right? Your audience wants you to succeed. They want their investment of 2 hours to be worth it. So remember, your audience is there who is cheering for you. So make it worth it for them. All right. So audience wants you to succeed. That the first basic you should know that nobody wants you to fail. So please stop that. What will audience think about me? No, they want you to succeed. Second, very important hack. Nobody knows your content. Let's say today, if I skip one of the videos, I skip one slide, how many of you in the audience will find out? I skipped a paragraph, I skipped an important example. Nobody in the audience knows my content. It's only I who know it. So if I skip, I forget, I miss out, I fumble, only I know about it. The audience, all of you, have no idea about it. Right? So first things first, the audience wants you to succeed. Second, the audience does not know your content. Now, third, do not look down when you're speaking. It does not look good. All right. If you have notes, keep them in the hand. If you saw my last video, I had those play cards in my hand. I did not use them for my entire 10-minute speech. I did not use them. But I had those play cards in my hand as a reference tool. In my video presentation today, my presentation and my knowledge was enough. I used my notes for less than 5% of the time, but I had my notes for. Do not look down, do not have random movements. It's okay to carry notes. You don't have to memorize the speech word by word, point by point, full stop to full stop. It's okay to skip a few parts. It's perfectly fine. Do not overthink on that part. All right. There are no secret techniques. All right. It's practice. But the question is, how do you practice? Now, the most common thing you will see on social media or on blogs is practice in front of a mirror. I will say never ever do that because it makes you self-aware and self-conscious on the spot. It puts you on the spot. Do not use a mirror to practice. Then you wonder, how do I practice, Hardik? Simple. We live in the smart era. We all have smartphones. All our smartphones have cameras. Record yourself on a camera. Speak for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Record yourself on a camera. Then go back and watch the recording completely end to end. Step 1. Step 2, mute the audio. Just look at your movements. Do you think there are too many movements happening in your video? Or there are some irrelevant movements happening on your video? Rectify this. Then switch the video off, listen to the audio. The pause, the pitch, the power, the pace, is it perfect? Now again combine it and do it. All right, so record yourself on camera. If you're not sure, please use Zoom. Zoom has a recording feature. Use that. record yourself, you record your audio, record your video, and then come out there. All right. Do not practice in front of the mirror. I do not believe in that. That's not the right technique to do it. Record yourself on a camera, on your mobile phone, on your laptop, on Zoom, whatever you want to use that. And the most important thing is over prepare. You need 10 points, prepare 25 points. If you miss something, your time is overshot, time is cut short, whatever, you should be able to manage that. So over prepare whenever you're doing a presentation. All right, so that's in terms of your caution, your stage fright, lack of confidence, poor body language, lack of audience engagement. Remember, the audience wants you to succeed. They have spent their time, effort, and money to listen to you. They want to learn something from you, so they will not want you to fail. They will not boo for you unless you boo for yourself. And my favorite trick is the audience does not know my content. If I skip, if I fumble, if I make errors, nobody will find out that. So don't do that. Do not look down. Do not have random movements. Avoid ahs, ums. All right. So a lot of times we have this. All right. So let's go back to this. Let me think about it. Try and practice to avoid using this filler words or filler words as much as you can. Carry notes and shit. It's perfectly fine to do that. People are not taking a memory test of yours. They want a knowledge transfer and give that to them. So your confidence on stage is paramount. You can be shivering, you can be jittery, you may be having 100 thoughts, but your confidence on stage is the most important, and that beats the stage fright, that beats your lack of confidence, that beats your lack of audience engagement. Everything is taken care of. All right. So do not look down. It does not look good on you. Do not be underconfident. Once you're on stage, ensure you're taking care of that. If the audience is not responding, you need to know whether you need to cut short your speaking or you need to increase it. All right. So that will define if the audience is not reacting, try a new technique, but do not keep talking if the audience is not engaged. So let's go back, quickly revise these, what we just saw. First of all, prepare, practice, presentation, and then performance. Over prepare. Prepare as much as you want. Remember, I close the circle. If you practice, how do you practice that? How your presentation goes, how your performance goes? We close the circle. This was your foundation. And what you just saw 30 seconds back is the closure. Closing a circle, a loop is always very critical. Know your audience, personal interaction, group discussions, public speaking. The 5 W's and 1 H: who, what, when, where, why, how. Don't ever forget that. Crafting your message, opening, body, conclusion, your purpose, generic or specific. To inform, to entertain, to persuade, to inspire, choose what you want to do. Do not use jargons, long sentences. Engage delivery techniques, body language, eye contact, hand gestures, stage movement. Voice modulation, pause, pitch, power, pace, the 4 Ps. Use audio visuals. AVs have a higher recall value than just audio. PPTs and prop. Handling questions like a pro, be prepared, active listening, clear and concise response. Do not enter into an argument with anyone. Have the moral high ground. It's okay to say you're not sure, you're unsure, you'll come back to them. It's okay to go back to the drawing board. What's in it for you? Interviews, client meetings, pitches, representation, conference speaker, brand building. That's self-promotion and marketing. You can't advertise your services, but you can advertise and let people know your domain knowledge and expertise. Communication, listening, thinking, organizing, delivering. Remember the 2 frameworks: prep, point, reason, example, point. Second is PPF, past, present, future. Stage fright, it's normal. Lack of confidence is normal. Poor body language is normal. Lack of audience engagement is normal. Remember, the audience wants you to succeed, but all of this can be achieved only with practice, practice, and practice. In front of the camera, in front of random audiences, your friends, family, your clients, your the first 3 times will be bad. It's okay. In CA, some of us have had attempts. It's okay. We qualified. You will get better at it. But if you do not go on stage, you will never get better at it. Avoid your R's and Ums. Carry notes which if required. Nobody knows your content. Practice in front of a camera. Record your audio, video. Listen to yourself. Watch yourself. If you can't listen and watch yourself multiple times, why do you think audience will want to do that? All right, that's been my presentation. These are my communication channels. You can connect me with on LinkedIn. It's Hardik Shah 89. Email ID is shah.hardik@ici.org and my contact number is displayed. If you have any questions, doubts, understanding better, I'm more than happy to help you, guide you. I don't charge for any of these sessions, so you can take my help how much ever you want for these. All right, now I'm going to open the floor back to questions from the audience. Audience members, if you have questions, please shoot them in the chat box. I will ask my moderator, Anshuman ji, to please help me with questions from the audience now. And thank you for being a wonderful, wonderful audience. I hope I was able to deliver some good quality content. Like I said, you won't become a pro speaker at the end of this, but some nuances, some tips and tricks that could be useful for your journey going ahead in communication. If you have questions, please ask them. If you enjoy these sessions, please leave me a testimonial. I'll be more than happy to read them. I hope you enjoyed this session. I had a fantastic time. I know it was one-way interaction. I unfortunately could not watch you and see your expressions change, happy, sad, or unhappy, but I'm assuming it made some impact in your communication styles and tricks over here. Thank you, PSAC, for this opportunity to come and take this session on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you, 500 plus people, for attending this session on a Sunday afternoon. I really hope and believe it was worth your time. Thank you so much. Handing over the stage back to our moderator, Anshuman ji. Anshuman ji, if you have questions from audience, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer those. Anshuman ji, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here only, and I'm having a look at the questions screen, but there are no questions as such. But I
If you
can
have
see
any
many people are
questions,
praising the session, and it's all accolades for the session here.
thank you so much, sir. If you have any questions, sir, which you think will be useful for the audience,
I don't think I also have any questions, sir. It was really a very, very engaging session, I must say that even though you were not directly able to see the audience, but it was a very engaging session and very insightful. And I think the audience must have gained a lot from today's session.
sure. Let's wait for 2-3 minutes if they have any questions, or then else we
Yes,
can wrap
yes,
up the session.
yes, sure, sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Uh, I've got just now I've got a question from Sanjay ji from Thane. He says, any breathing exercise to boost confidence before start?
So if we do meditation or yoga, it works for some people. All right. It basically distracts you from the main audience. So taking 3 or 5 or 10 deep breaths can be useful. It does not work for everyone. Like I get very nervous before I go on stage. So I can't think about breathing or anything else, but I keep revising it. I was that student back in school also, where I'll carry my entire book and keep revising it till the last minute till the exam hall enters in. So for everyone, different tricks. For you, it could be breathing. where you just close everything, close your eyes for 10 seconds. You're just visualizing how successful you will be in the next 30 minutes, right? Or deep breaths. It calms you down. The point is, the nervousness, anxiety is because of the blood rush. If you're able to calm that down with your breathing exercises, it could be useful to you. It's not a successful formula for everyone. If it works for you, please use it. Find your hack. That's important. Reading, talking to people. Like before going on stage, I like talking to 5 people because they distract me from my time on stage. Because so that works for me. So whatever works for you, use that. Different things could work. You use unconventional tricks also. So you're on mute. Anshuman ji, mute. You're on mute. Anshuman ji, you're mute. I can't hear you.
Sorry. Sir, we have got a question from Gaurav Jain ji. He is
Yes.
asking lack of words and grammar. Kindly share some inputs on them.
So remember, like I said at the start of the conversation, communication is a two-way thing. What I speak is you should be able to understand that. I may have broken English, I may have broken grammar, but am I able to articulate and help the other person? Yes, my job is done. If not, today with ChatGPT, what I do, I'll show you my screen. You may want to laugh at it, but I'll just show that to you. I have these classes that I take every day on ChatGPT for myself. All right. So if I want to improve my grammar and improve my knowledge, so this ChatGPT gives me one quiz or one understanding every day. What is present tense, like day 5 of grammar, present simple versus present continuous? What is the difference in the tenses? It gives you examples, and then it gives me differences. It gives me quizzes to test myself. Once I reply to it, it gives me what answers were right, what was wrong. Fill in the blanks was right, sentence correction was right. So I got a 10 on 10. But before, I have also got, see, I've got this wrong. And then they rectified it, give me the explanation, what did I do incorrectly over here. I got a 4 on 5 over here. I got a 6 on 10 before that. So I've been practicing. So you can just put a prompt on ChatGPT to send you a grammar lesson every day. Spend 5-10 minutes, one topic of grammar, tense, punctuation, whatever is that. It will automatically prepare notes for you, give you quizzes, and rectify it. 10 minutes every day. I still do that to help improve my grammar. All right. So it's self-development. No books required, and you can do it on your phone also, right? ChatGPT on your phone. If you're traveling, you're busy, you can use your phone to learn this also. Everything is at your fingertips. It's making use of technology to the best. AI is generating questions, and it, as I improve my English, it increases the difficulty level for me also. That's the beauty of AI. Right? So please use ChatGPT and AI for these things as well. Let's not look at AI as someone who is contending for us. It's helping to improve us if we use it in the right manner.
Sir, there's another question from Basant Kumar Mehta ji. He says, what content should be there on LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp groups, websites for CAs?
So that's a very good question. Now, I have to choose my domain and expertise. All right. Let's say I am extremely good at income tax for personal taxation, or let's say I'm very good at capital gain taxation or house property. Now, house property is one head of income. How can I use sections if, let's say, I do not get house rent allowance? Can I still claim exemption deduction for rent paid? Can I still avail deduction of expenses towards house rent if I'm getting an income? Choose your domain expertise. Keep 2 or 3 paragraphs, all right? I'll give you the hacks for each handle. LinkedIn, please use a photograph of yourself or something, or you're speaking, communicating with 3 paragraphs, what you're trying to tell people about, how to do it, and if you have used it somewhere, a case study. Let's say for a recent client, you help them save income on their house property income. Use that as a case study, as a reference model. All right, that's your LinkedIn formula. If you're using Instagram, for example, create a reel of not more than 60 seconds. Start with a hook. Did you know that you could save 25,000 rupees on the rent that you pay to your landlord? Find out with me how. It's a hook. Then you explain your concept and then you tell them, follow me for more insights. Now, WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp is flooded with a lot of communication information. Okay? Modify your LinkedIn handle or WhatsApp or your Instagram. Put a 2-line summary of it. Want to know how to save rupees 25,000 on house rent? Watch this reel of mine. Did you know that you could claim deduction or expenses on your house income? Read my post on LinkedIn. That's how you link it back. So it has to be joined to each other. It's a network. Your LinkedIn, your WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a communication blast that you send to 100 people. LinkedIn and Instagram are where the information is held. It's held out there, all right? And you link it back. I hope that answers your question, Basanji.
Thank you, Hardik ji. I don't think we have any further questions. So, with your permission, shall I proceed for the vote of thanks?
Yes, sir. Let's close the session. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. Those are some interesting questions. I hope you learned something. I enjoyed my session over here. I'm hoping to see some of you in person at future ICI events. Please come and say hi to me. I would love to meet all of you. And thank you, Anshumanji, for being a moderator on the Sunday afternoon.
Thank you, Hardik sir. And it has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful webcast from Nervous to Noteworthy, the Basics of Public Speaking, organized by the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee ICAI. On behalf of the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, CA Hardik Shah, for his enlightening session. A wide round of applause and thanks to the organizer, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee. Our today's speakers, CA Hardik Shah, and other stakeholders made the webcast a memorable one. Finally, I would like to thank all of you present here and helping us make this webcast a grand success. Thank you one and all once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day.